She laughed about cheating on me. My friends took her side. I left quietly, then showed up with my new girl on her birthday. We were all sitting in the living room. 8 of us, maybe 9. Beers half finished, pizza already cold, and Spotify playing something that made it feel like everything was fine. Lexi was sitting next to me on the couch, legs curled under her like she was perfectly comfortable. Like nothing was coming. We hadn't been good for a while. Arguments over nothing. Passive-aggressive texts. Nights where she rolled over without saying goodnight. But I still didn't expect this. She was in the middle of some story, laughing with our friends like always. I wasn't even fully listening, just zoning out, letting her run the room like she always did. Then she shifted gears. Looked me dead in the eye. So, I slept with someone else. Just like that. Not a confession. A statement. It didn't land like a bomb. It landed like a joke nobody understood. Everyone kind of froze. Even the music didn't seem to know what to do with itself. Then she added, voice syrupy smooth, I needed a real man, you know? And smiled. Smiled. That's when I knew. This wasn't an apology. This was a performance. A well-timed twist in the story. She'd already cast me as the boring, emotionally unavailable boyfriend in. Some of our friends laughed nervously, like it was edgy, like it was funny. One guy, Marcus, who'd known me for a decade, even muttered, damn Lex, but said nothing else. No one looked at me. Not really. I didn't say a word. I stood up, walked to the kitchen, grabbed my keys off the counter. She tilted her head. That's it? You're just gonna leave? Yup, I said, cool and clean like the first cut of a sharp blade. I didn't yell, didn't throw a drink, didn't give her the meltdown she was clearly hoping for. I smiled, small, silent. Not kindness, closure. Then I walked out the door. I didn't slam the door. I didn't stomp down the stairs or peel out of the driveway like some cliché movie boyfriend. I just walked. Calm. Quiet. Like the gravity in the room had finally broken and I was floating towards something better. Or at least, something more honest. I got in my car and sat there for a second, gripping the steering wheel with both hands like I needed to physically hold myself together. The house behind me buzzed with music and laughter that suddenly sounded so forced. Like they were pretending nothing had happened. Like I hadn't just been humiliated in front of the same people I used to trust with my worst secrets. And maybe that's what cut the deepest. Not that she cheated, but that they stayed seated when she did. The group chat we all shared stayed silent. No hey man, are you okay? No that was messed up. No loyalty, no respect, not even a damn emoji. So I made my own noise by saying nothing. I left the group chat. Blocked Lexi, blocked Marcus. Hell, I blocked all of them. I didn't explain. I didn't ask them to pick sides. Because they already had. By the next morning, my phone had 32 missed calls, mostly from Lexi. Some from people who hadn't said a word the night before. People who just hours ago had smiled while she stabbed me in the chest and called it honesty. She left voicemails too, the kind where her voice wavered between pissed and panicked. You're being so dramatic. At least I was honest with you. You really just walked away like a child? Call me back, please. It was almost funny, almost. Because for someone who claimed I wasn't a real man, she suddenly really wanted to talk to me. But I didn't answer. I wasn't interested in her explanations or their excuses. I didn't want closure. I was the closure. And as much as it stung to realize I didn't matter to them. Not really, not when it counted. It felt good to take my power back without having to throw a single punch or scream a single word. They expected chaos. A scene. They got a locked door and silence instead. And that hurt more than anything I could have said. By day 3, the narrative started to shift. Lexi went from smug to spiraling fast. The first day she played it cool. Posted a selfie with some caption like, not everyone deserves access to you, and tagged 3 of our mutuals who had sat on that couch and watched her drag my name through dirt. By the second day I heard through someone's sister, small town, you know how it is, that she was telling people I left her over a joke. That I was too sensitive. That I wasn't man enough to handle real honesty. By the third day, she was crying on her Instagram story. No filter, no lashes, just mascara streaks and a shaky voice saying, I made a mistake, okay? But I was just being honest. I didn't actually cheat. I was drunk. I thought it would make him care. So now it was manipulation, not infidelity. She couldn't even lie consistently. Meanwhile, the group chat without me? Yeah, that didn't last. Because the thing about people who choose the wrong side is they'll do it again. Marcus sent me a long message I didn't read all the way. Something about how he thought it was just Lexi being Lexi, and that I was always the solid one, so they didn't think I'd take it that hard. Like not flipping out meant it didn't hurt. Like being calm was the same as being numb. Like silence equaled permission. I didn't reply to him either. Instead, I posted something of my own. Simple, clean, no tags, no names. Some of y'all only knew me when I was quiet. Now you'll spend the rest of your life wondering what I would have said if I stayed. The likes rolled in. Some from people I hadn't spoken to in years. Some from people who used to think I was too reserved, too laid back, too forgiving. But they got it now. Because you don't need to scream to burn a bridge. You just need to walk away and let the silence light the match. Lexi sent one final message that week. I miss you. You didn't even let me explain. But the thing is, you don't get to stab someone and then ask why they're bleeding. You don't get a seat at the table just because you're sorry you flipped it. And you definitely don't get to be in my life just because you finally realize I made it better. 2 weeks after she publicly humiliated me, Lexi sent out invites to her birthday party. A rooftop lounge, velvet dress code, faux glam Instagram vibes. You know the type. More about being seen than being celebrated. I wasn't removed from the guest list, not even after 32 missed calls and a full-blown guilt parade from her side. She left me on the RSVP, like she thought I was still playing a part in her production. Like I might show up and beg her to take me back. But I wasn't coming to be background noise. I brought Kara. You don't know Kara, but Lexi did. They met once at a mutual's housewarming. Lexi took one look at her. The natural makeup, the oversized blazer, the fact she quoted Audre Lorde in casual conversation, and later whispered to me, she's one of those girls who thinks being smart makes her hot. Plot twist, Kara is smart and hot and kind. She also happens to be the kind of woman who can walk into a room and change its temperature without saying a word. I texted her a week before the party. She said yes without hesitation. You sure this isn't petty? She asked in the Uber that night. It's not petty, I told her. It's strategic. And I meant it. Lexi's party was full of people I used to call friends. Half of them hadn't spoken to me since the breakup. The other half were only there to get tagged in her birthday pics. She was already a few cocktails in when we arrived. I saw her before she saw us, laughing, head tilted back, one hand on a guy's chest who looked just Lexi's type, gym body, 0 brain cells. Then Kara and I walked in, and everything froze. We didn't make a scene. We didn't stomp in or cause drama. Kara slipped her hand into mine. We made a slow, casual lap around the rooftop, waving to a couple people we knew, grabbing drinks, smiling like we were completely at ease. But you could feel the tension. Lexi's laugh got quieter. Her smile started to twitch. She was watching us, even when she pretended not to. By the time we stopped near the edge of the rooftop, Kara leaned in and whispered, she's spiraling. You can feel it. And yeah, she was. Because it wasn't just that I showed up, it was who I brought, and how unbothered we looked together. We didn't stay long. 45 minutes maybe. Just enough time for Lexi to watch her fantasy unravel, thread by thread. Kara and I didn't gloat, we didn't circle her group, we didn't stir the pot, we just existed. And that was enough. See, people like Lexi, they don't know how to handle silence. They need chaos to stay in control. If there's no drama, they don't know where the spotlight is supposed to land. But tonight, it wasn't on her, it was on us. At some point, I felt Marcus watching us from across the bar. Same dude who said nothing when Lexi confessed. Same guy who laughed when she called me a mistake. Now he was staring like he was seeing me for the first time. And maybe he was. Because I didn't look broken. I looked free. We took one picture. Just one. Kara standing next to me, hand resting on my shoulder. Both of us backlit by city lights. No caption. No tag. Just posted to my story with 0 context. That was enough. By the time we got back into the Uber, Kara was grinning. You didn't say a word to her. Didn't need to, I said. Lexi messaged me before we even made it home. So she's your new girl now? 10 minutes later, you really brought her to my party? Then, you're pathetic. And then finally, I miss you. Funny how fast the story changes when you're not the one holding the pen anymore. The voicemail started rolling in the next morning. Some angry, some sad. One where she tried to sound nostalgic, like we were high school sweethearts, instead of a girl who gutted me in front of my friends and laughed about it. She didn't say sorry. Not really. She said things like, "We both made mistakes. You knew we were drifting. At least I was honest." That last one almost made me laugh. Lexi didn't confess to clear her conscience. She confessed because she thought she could still win. Thought she could hurt me and I'd come crawling back anyway. But instead, I made a clean exit. Then walked back into her world with someone smarter, stronger, and more solid than she ever was. And now, Lexi was the one stuck watching. Watching the texts get left on read. Watching her name lose weight in the friend group. Watching the likes dry up and the people shift toward me. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't a fight. It's a photo, a presence, and the look on their face when they realize they bet against you and lost. After the rooftop party and that photo, Lexi's ego took a nosedive. Suddenly, I wasn't the boring guy she cheated on. I was the one who left with dignity, showed up with someone better, and walked out without even acknowledging her. And that drove her insane. The messages got longer, more frantic. "Please, I just want to talk. We can fix this. I know we can. That girl, Kara, she doesn't even know you." She started pulling the history card. "You're really going to throw away everything we had?" "No, Lexi, you threw it away. All I did was take the trash out and move on." Then she pulled the card I knew was coming. "I made a mistake, but you're being cruel." Cruel? I didn't scream at her. I didn't blast her online. I didn't trash her name to our mutuals, even though I had every reason to. All I did was walk away and not let her follow. But narcissists hate when they lose control of the narrative. Lexi couldn't stand the fact that I was calm, that I was healing, that people were starting to realize she wasn't the victim in this story. Marcus reached out again. Said some of the group was starting to feel uncomfortable about what went down. That maybe Lexi wasn't being completely honest about how things ended. No apology, just half-assed fence-sitting. I told him, "Tell them all I said thanks. But I'm not hosting auditions for replacement friends." He left me on read. Perfect. Meanwhile, Kara? Still around, still solid, still unbothered. We weren't labeling anything, just letting it grow where it wanted to. And that was the difference. No manipulation, no power games, no ego contests, just two people moving forward, no skeletons, no drama. And Lexi hated that. The last message she sent before I blocked her for good? "I just wish you'd let me explain." Nah, I watched you explain, to a whole room of people. Loud, proud, no shame. Now that there's no audience, suddenly you want to clarify? Too late. You don't get to rip someone open and then ask them to hand you the needle. Sometimes people don't miss you. They miss access to you, your attention, your energy, your forgiveness. But the moment you stop offering those things, they don't know who they are anymore. And that's not your responsibility. That's just karma showing up. And I didn't even have to make a scene. It had been about a month since Lexi's birthday. She was blocked on everything. No calls, no texts, no "sorry, I was drunk," or "we just kissed," or "I didn't think you'd leave." She had plenty of time to think about what she lost, and I had zero interest in helping her process it. Kara and I weren't official, but we were close. She wasn't a rebound. She was proof that I didn't need to stay broken just because someone I trusted smashed the foundation. And then, out of nowhere, Marcus called. I thought he got the message when I ghosted that fake coffee catch-up a couple weeks back. But nope. Some people don't learn until you spell it out for them. I picked up. I was curious. "Hey man," he said, real casual. "Listen, I just wanted to say I think things got out of hand." Out of hand? This man sat in my living room while Lexi confessed to cheating and laughed like she dropped a punchline, not a nuke. "You were quiet," he continued, "so we didn't know if you were serious." "I was quiet," I said, "because I was stunned." "You were loud because you're spineless." That shut him up real fast. Then he said the thing I knew was coming. "Lexi's not doing well, man. She's been saying you twisted the story." Ah, so we're back to gaslight mode. Now I'm not just the guy she cheated on. I'm the guy who's too dramatic to understand nuance. I cut Marcus off right there. I don't owe you loyalty for watching me get humiliated and doing nothing. You don't have to be so cold, dude. Cold? Let me be clear. I was warm when I forgave people who didn't deserve it. I was warm when I stayed with a woman who made me feel small. I was warm when I let people into my space who only clapped when I was struggling. Now? Now I'm unavailable. I hung up, blocked his number, blocked every mutual who stayed neutral. Neutrality protects the abuser, not the abused. The next week, Kara and I road tripped to a little mountain town 3 hours away. No signal, no noise. Just air so clean it made your chest feel new again. We laughed. We didn't talk about Lexi. And that was the moment I knew she was gone. Not just from my phone, but from my narrative. She wasn't the villain anymore. She was just irrelevant. It happened in the dumbest, most mundane way possible. Not some dramatic run-in at a wedding. Not a tense encounter in front of mutual friends. Not a last-ditch text from a burner phone. Just Trader Joe's. I was grabbing oat milk and eggs on a random Sunday when I turned the corner of aisle 4 and almost walked straight into her. Lexi. No makeup, hair tied back, sweatpants that used to be mine. For half a second, time froze. My stomach dropped out. Her eyes widened, like she'd seen a ghost or maybe the consequences of her own actions. She opened her mouth to say something, but I beat her to it. Hey! Just that. Clat. Unbothered. I watched the chaos flicker in her expression. Confusion, shame, anger, desperation, all cycling behind her eyes in under 2 seconds. She reached out for a hug. I took a step back. Still not touching liars, I said. Not loud, not rude. Just done. She tried to smile, asked how I was doing. I said, better than I've ever been. Because it was true. I didn't need her to know that Kara was waiting outside in the car, or that I'd finally gotten a promotion at work, or that my nights were quiet now. No screaming, no apologies, no, it didn't mean anything. Lexi didn't deserve an update. She deserved silence. But of course, she couldn't leave it there. You really just walked away from everything we had? That again, that everything we had line. The one cheaters always pull when they realize they bet wrong. I looked her dead in the eye. You burned everything we had. I just didn't stay to inhale the smoke. And that broke her. She blinked fast. Bit her lip, nodded like she was trying to act unbothered, like she was still the one in control. But her eyes told the truth. Lexi always wanted the final word, but I took it, quietly, with peace, and I walked away, oat milk in hand, while she stood frozen in the frozen aisle. I didn't look back, because what's the point? You don't rewind a fire to stare at the ashes. Comment below. Would you have handled it quietly, or gone out with fireworks? And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a new episode. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.